All right, let's get right into it. 2026 has hit the corporate world like an absolute freight train. I mean, AI didn't just get a little bit smarter over the last year, it practically took over the boardroom overnight. Suddenly, it is dominating earnings calls, corporate restructuring plans, and, yeah, those massive layoff announcements we're seeing all across the globe. So, welcome to this explainer on the rapid transformation of the modern workplace. We're going to break down exactly what this all means for you and for the broader economy.
Because everywhere you look right now, as major tech companies announce these huge workforce reductions, one specific question is just spreading like wildfire. Is AI replacing jobs? It's literally the core question on everyone's mind. But, the answer is actually a lot more complicated than a simple yes or no. What we're witnessing right now isn't just a basic wave of direct job replacements. No, it is a fundamental, ground-up redesign of how companies actually operate.
So, here's our roadmap for this explainer so we can unpack this complex reality together. First, the 2026 tech layoffs. Second, redesigning enterprise workflows. Third, replacement or resource reallocation. Fourth, industries most at risk. And finally, essential skills for tomorrow.
Kicking things off with part one, the 2026 tech layoffs, a billion-dollar paradox. Okay, so over the last year, industry giants, we're talking Oracle, Amazon, Meta, Google, Microsoft, they have all announced pretty significant workforce reductions. But at the exact same time, they are dramatically increasing their capital spending. It's a massive paradox, right? On one hand, companies are cutting departments where AI can successfully automate routine work, but on the other hand, they are simultaneously pouring absolute billions into AI data centers, custom chips, and huge cloud infrastructure. They aren't necessarily just swapping out one employee for one AI system. Instead, these organizations have suddenly figured out how to combine automation with AI assistance to get the exact same output but with far fewer people. Moving on to part two, redesigning enterprise workflows and the rise of the new AI operator. To really wrap our heads around this paradox, we have to look closely at how day-to-day operations are changing. The very nature of daily work is literally shifting right beneath our feet. I mean, just a few years ago, most business processes depended so heavily on manual effort. Employees spent their whole days answering emails, creating reports, doing data entry, scheduling appointments, putting together presentations, the whole shebang. Today, large chunks of these highly manual, routine activities are being handled instantly by intelligent software systems. Think about a modern sales department for a second. An AI system can now gather leads, draft highly personalized emails, update the CRM, schedule the meetings, and even generate performance reports, pretty much on its own. And this brings us to a phrase you'll hear executives using a lot lately. They're increasingly describing AI as a productivity multiplier. You see, the overarching goal here isn't just cutting operational costs. The real goal is skyrocketing output while staying incredibly competitive in this new AI-driven economy. They're realizing that one single AI-equipped employee can now achieve the output that used to require a whole team of people. So, what does this actually look like in practice? Well, there's a fundamental corporate shift happening right now. Organizations are actively moving away from paying people to execute repetitive processes, and they're pivoting entirely toward paying people to supervise AI outcomes. Across marketing, finance, HR, software development, you name it, the most valuable workers are no longer the ones just doing the repetitive tasks. The absolute most valuable players are those who can design, guide, verify, and improve these brand new AI-powered workflows. Which leads us to part three, replacement or resource reallocation. Let's talk about evolving the workforce. So this begs a really big question. Is this actually replacement or is it reallocation? A lot of those sensationalized headlines you see, they're actually pretty misleading. Most companies aren't just firing entire departments overnight. What they're doing is strategically evolving their workforce and reallocating their capital. Organizations are actively decreasing administrative positions, manual data entry roles, and traditional support staff. But meanwhile, their headcounts are actively increasing for AI engineering, cybersecurity teams, and automation specialists. In a lot of these organizations, jobs aren't just vanishing into thin air. They're simply shifting away from routine legacy tasks and moving toward building and securing entirely new AI capabilities. Now, if you're feeling a bit anxious about all this, let's just take a breath and look at the bigger picture for a second. Disruption really isn't anything new. The internet changed jobs, cloud computing changed jobs, earlier waves of automation definitely changed jobs. Now, AI is simply accelerating that entire process.
The challenge isn't that jobs disappear forever, it's that this transformation is currently happening way faster than our ability to retrain for it. Workers who adapt to this new timeline are going to gain some incredible opportunities, while those who ignore the shift are, well, they're going to face increasing uncertainty.
All right, part 4. Industries most at risk. Let's look at the automation divide.
It is time to face those fears directly and define exactly who is on the chopping block here and who remains fundamentally safe. On the high disruption side, we have roles that are predictable, rules-based, and heavily digital. We're talking data entry, basic admin, routine customer service, and standard documentation. Because these jobs involve highly structured information, AI processes them incredibly efficiently. Now, this doesn't mean these careers vanish completely overnight, but organizations will definitely expect higher productivity, meaning they'll just need fewer people. On the flip side, the low disruption side, we have healthcare professionals, business leaders handling complex strategy, cybersecurity experts, and AI designers. These roles require human judgment, creativity, leadership, trust, and emotional intelligence, things that AI honestly struggles immensely to replicate. Ultimately, the future belongs to people who combine human expertise with AI capabilities. Replacing professionals who know how to navigate uncertainty, ethics, context, and complex human relationships, that remains incredibly difficult for any algorithm. AI is here to assist these professionals, absolutely not replace them.
And finally, part 5, essential skills for tomorrow. How to thrive in the AI era.
Okay, so now that we understand the scope of the problem, how do you actually survive this 2026 transition? Well, the answer definitely isn't to go out and learn every single new AI tool that pops up on the market. Instead, you want to focus entirely on these core essential skills. AI literacy, actually understanding how these systems operate, critical thinking, being able to evaluate AI-generated information, automation design, knowing how to build efficient workflows, data analysis, turning raw information into actual decisions, and finally, good old communication and problem solving. You really need to know how to critically evaluate, design workflows for, and communicate effectively alongside these systems. I want you to remember this quote. AI can generate answers, but humans still decide which answers matter. Human direction, complex judgment, and goal setting, these are the absolute, ultimate, irreplaceable assets in this new economy. At the end of the day, you are the one who defines the goals and makes the final calls. So, to summarize the main reality of the 2026 workplace, companies are restructuring around capabilities rather than headcount. The workers who thrive in this environment won't necessarily be the most technical engineers in the room. They're going to be the ones who learn how to leverage AI as a force multiplier. Every major tech revolution creates uncertainty, for sure, but it also creates massive opportunity. It's not a question of if your industry will change, but whether you will adopt to become that force multiplier before your competitors do.
Which brings us to a final, really provocative thought. Will AI create more jobs than it replaces over the next 10 years? I really want you to contemplate your own place in this future of work. What role are you going to step into as this disruption unfolds and completely reshapes your industry?
If you found this explainer breakdown useful and you want to stay ahead of the curve, be sure to subscribe to Vimas Tech. We've got plenty more practical insights coming on AI, automation, digital transformation, and the technologies actively shaping the future of work. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this fascinating shift, and I'll see you in the next explainer.